Horror has always been an essential part of ancient mythology, shaping the way people understood the world, their fears, and the unknown forces that surrounded them. From terrifying monsters to vengeful spirits and cursed places, myths used horror not only to entertain but to warn, teach, and explain the mysteries of life and death. These stories reflected deep anxieties about the natural world, morality, and the consequences of human actions. One of the best examples of horror in mythology comes from ancient Greece, where the Gorgons were feared creatures with hair made of living snakes. The most famous of them, Medusa, was said to turn anyone who looked directly at her into stone. This terrifying image served as a warning about the dangers of hubris and the consequences of offending the gods. Perseus, one of Greek mythology's great heroes, had to face Medusa in a battle of life and death, using his wit and skill to avoid her deadly gaze by looking at her reflection in a polished shield. The horror of Medusa made the story memorable and reinforced the idea that monsters could be defeated, but only with caution and intelligence. Another example is the legend of the Wendigo in Algonquian mythology. The Wendigo is a terrifying creature associated with greed, cannibalism, and the dangers of winter. It is said that those who resorted to eating human flesh would become cursed, transforming into a monstrous, insatiable being that could never satisfy its hunger. This myth served as both a horror story and a moral lesson, warning against the dangers of desperation and greed, while explaining the harsh realities of survival in the cold northern wilderness. Norse mythology also embraced horror, particularly through tales of the undead. Draugr were terrifying revenants who rose from their graves to haunt the living, often guarding treasure or seeking revenge. These beings were stronger than ordinary humans, could shapeshift and spread disease. The Norse believed that improper burial or unresolved conflict could cause a person to return as a Draugr, which reinforced the importance of burial rituals and respecting the dead. In ancient Egypt, horror was often tied to the afterlife and divine punishment. The weighing of the heart in the Hall of Ma'at determined whether a soul would proceed to eternal paradise or be devoured by Ammit, a monstrous creature with the head of a crocodile, the body of a lion, and the hindquarters of a hippopotamus. This terrifying fate served as a powerful moral warning: live a righteous life or face annihilation in the afterlife. The fear of being erased from existence was one of the greatest horrors to the ancient Egyptians, making this myth particularly effective in enforcing moral and religious laws. Japanese folklore also provides chilling examples of horror in mythology. The Yurei, or vengeful spirits, were believed to return from the dead to seek revenge on those who wronged them in life. One famous example is the story of Okiku, a woman murdered and thrown into a well. Her ghost haunted the land, counting to 9 over and over, as she had been falsely accused of losing a valuable dish. The fear of vengeful spirits reinforced the importance of justice and honor, as mistreating others could bring supernatural consequences. Horror in mythology has always served a deeper purpose than just fear. It helped ancient societies make sense of their world, reinforcing laws, values, and the boundaries between right and wrong. These terrifying myths connected people to their fears of the unknown, whether it was the darkness, death, or supernatural forces, and provided a way to confront them. Even today, many of these stories continue to influence horror literature and film, proving that the fears of the ancient world are still deeply ingrained in the human imagination.